What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS, and I'm here with my guy, Dino Bam Bam.
What up, DS? How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. Just watched a little bit of Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series. Pretty much everyone got a goddamn contract. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, is it, brother?
No, it's not, man. We're here to talk about the one and only this guy. We're here to talk about this guy.
Absolutely. And listen, I know you're not like the biggest fan inherently because he beat up your boy twice and he's beaten up a lot of the fighters that you like. But we're here to talk about Alex Pereira, man. We're here to just talk about Alex Pereira. It's Alex Pereira fight week. He's taking on Khalil Rountree, obviously. Is it the most natural matchup or the first one that comes to your mind? Certainly not. Certainly not. Obviously, the UFC has something against Magomed Ankalaev, and could you blame him? You know, I get it. He had the bad fight with Jan, and then he didn't want to fight. And I get it, right? But really, just wanted to touch on Alex Pereira. And look, a lot of times we have these athletes, right? Like we're Chicago fans, right, Dino?
Yeah, you know.
Goes without saying. If you haven't noticed that, I think you might know it. And I'm wearing a very appropriate hat. I just want to touch on something real quick. Derrick Rose retired last week or this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Shout out Derrick Rose.
Shout out fucking D Rose, man. Unbelievable. I just want to say, right, like there are defining fighters and then there are defining athletes in general. And oftentimes, man, especially as men, and I don't mean anything negative by that, but you don't get your flowers until you're gone, right? So I think it's important sometimes to take a moment and just appreciate what you have while you're in it.
100%. Dino, look, I mean, we have this MMA channel. Me and you are obviously diehard fight fans, right? We've been watching it for way, way longer than we've been doing this channel. But what's cool to me is every once in a while, a guy comes around where like our friends hit us up like, oh shit, Alex Pereira's fighting this weekend. I got that like 4 times this week from friends of ours that are like not UFC fans, not big fight fans, very casual.
Just like maybe
they're
sports
excited,
fans.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, man. So I just want to briefly just recap briefly his career up to this point, right? We know that he came from a kickboxing background, right? And I would say, coming into the UFC, I'm still a huge Izzy fan. It's just I didn't expect to like Alex Pereira. You have to understand that. Like, we're both opinionated guys, right? And for me, like, I didn't want to like this guy, right? But as soon as I saw him, like, this guy's fucking terrifying. This guy looks absolutely terrifying. He's got that killer like face, right? Stern as fuck. And then you see the entrance and all this shit, right? And it's like, even before you even step foot into the octagon, it's like, holy shit, man. This guy has aura. This guy's terrifying. And he's coming basically for like a guy that I really like. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what it is, right? That's the whole story with Alex Pereira. That's kind of what catapulted him into the limelight. And then he took care of business. And that's what made him the star he is today.
Absolutely. So if you don't mind, I just want to go briefly through it, right? So it was announced that he's coming, and we're all excited about that. At least the diehards are, right? He comes in, gets Andreas Michailidis, who's a scrub pretty much, but he handles business, right? It's not at the end of the day, he was a kickboxer, right? He had very little MMA experience, comes in under Glover's tutelage, and knocks out Andreas Michailidis in this first UFC fight with a devastating flying knee, right? Terrifying aura, the stirred face, the entrance, all this shit, and it's gotten only better and better, right? Then he had some trouble in his next fight. Bruno Silva, but Bruno Silva had some hype at that point, right? Yeah. And both big-ass guys for the division. It was pretty close, right? But Alex Pereira clearly won it, right? Then just 3.5 months after that, he gets Sean Strickland, right? And what does he do? Sean Strickland talking all that shit. If you guys don't remember, now they're training partners, right? So it just goes to show you, if Sean Strickland can go from hating this fucking guy, and such a proud guy like Sean Strickland can go from getting knocked out by this guy to being like, you know what, I need this guy on my fucking side. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's fucking aura. That should tell you something, right? So 3.5 months later, he lands a nasty check left hook on Sean Strickland's chin, puts his ass out cold, right? Finally, we get the Izzy match. And what does he do? We always think about the pressure on Izzy, and it's fucked up because, like, Izzy's kind of the prey here, right? But at the end of the day, these guys are human beings, man. This guy came in, handled his business in 2 fights, got 2 KOs, and then fought the fucking arguably most dominant champion in the last 10, 15 years, right? 10 years, let's say. And then what happens? Standing TKO, he's out damaging the shit out of him, putting it on him, and he wins that fight fair and square. Unbelievable, right? And then we know, of course, and listen, I just want to say, here's something I think about too, bro. And stop me if I'm going off too hard, obviously. Feel free to hop in at any point. But it's like, okay, even the next fight, though, right? Like, he can't, like, even when he lost, the loss was already so crazy that it was another moment, right? Even his one loss in the UFC was a crazy fucking moment, right? So he's coming, and since 2022, nobody has fought more times than him. We know he came in a little bit older. He came in like his mid-30s, pretty much, essentially. And he's made all the right moves, man, right? So even in his loss to Izzy, which in my opinion was a top 3 MMA moment of all time, I think you will agree.
It was phenomenal.
So he's part of that too. Even though he's on the other side of it, he's still part of that too. You know what I mean? And then after that, what happens? He moves up to light heavyweight, and you could tell that, bro. This dude, we've seen all the memes and shit and all the news and things. This dude is not built to make 185, right? So he moves up to his more natural weight class, and then what does he do? He takes on a wrestler or a good wrestler, Jan Blachowicz. Close fight, but he ends up winning that too. I know you felt in the moment that he lost that fight.
Yeah, I mean it's razor close, right? Like
razor close, and of course, if it was, of course they're going to give it to the guy on the up and up, right? Jan has much less to lose than Alex Pereira does, just moving up to a new weight class, right? After that, what happens? He fights Yuri. He fucks him up. And I love Yuri. You love Yuri. But it was like, holy shit, dude. This guy is for real. Even though Yuri was getting, some shots in and doing decent in that first fight. Then what happens? He knocks out a former champion with several broken toes, right? And I just want to point out, it was at that very same fucking time, that same week in the build-up to that fight, that we had all the Conor news, and him and Chandler was still supposed to happen. And why, Dino, did we hear that Conor McGregor pulled out of that fight?
Because of a fucked up toe.
Because of a fucked up toe. A single broken toe. Alex Pereira fought on several broken toes just days later, Chama. So I'm not taking anything away from McGregor. You guys should know how we feel about that. By the way, we need to post that at some point. We did fucking say like 2 years ago that this fight will never happen. So, but I just want to say, fought this dude on broken toes, a former champion, and not only that, knocked him the fuck out, right? A knockout art knocked him the fuck out. And what is that? He avenged Glover. He avenged his fucking coach, bro. Now that's
twice.
Fucking horrible. Yes, please.
I was saying twice. He did it with Yuri, and he did it with Jamal Hill, right? So
yes, exactly, man.
3 times actually. But look, man, look, the resume speaks for itself, right? I mean, you look at his fights. You just talked about him, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know Sean Strickland wasn't a champion or had been a champion yet when he fought Alex Pereira, but his last 7 fights have been against UFC world champions. That's bananas, dude. You don't find resumes like that, and you don't find resumes like that from, guys like Kamaru Usman, guys like Alex Volkanovski, like top of the top guys, like the best
because
guys.
You know what it is, too? It's like there's few guys that go from one weight class to another and then fight the top guys in both and win against the vast majority of them.
That's what I'm saying. So resume, like the resume speaks for itself, man. It is what it is. He's putting former and future world champions out cold. You said it, the aura, Dino. It's the aura that stands out to me. It's absolutely fucking terrifying watching this guy walk out. I know you love his walkout. You say it's a top 3 walkout at worst in the UFC today. It's one of the best of all time, to be honest with you. Here's what it is, Dino. Alex Pereira's star power, to me, is really indicative of the times we're in MMA, right? This last these last couple years since the 2020 COVID boom that the UFC's had, we've had some stars. We've had some stars kind of crammed down our throat, like a guy like Sean O'Malley. And it's like, hey, no hate to the Sean O'Malley fans out there, but that's always seemed like manufactured. It always seemed forced and manufactured. We had the Charles Oliveira run, the Oliveira. That was really interesting. But Dino, this is something completely different. And you said it. I'm not the biggest Alex Pereira fan. Why? Because I'm a Yuri Prochazka fan. Why? Because I'm an Israel Adesanya fan. Why? Because I'm a Sean Strickland fan. And he's beating the shit out of the guys I love. But at the end of the day, you have to fucking give respect where it's due. The guy is in here. He's doing his thing. He started MMA super damn late, and he's the most successful guy in the sport right now. Number 2 pound for pound. Dino, we've been watching forever. Me and you have been watching literally since before we met each other. We were watching MMA. We met each other 16 years ago, something like that at this point. There was Brock Lesnar, when we started, we were watching when Brock Lesnar came in, but Brock Lesnar
there was the Liddell era. There was the Lesnar era. There was the Rousey
Tito Ortiz.
Era.
There was Conor. There was Ronda. The new fans, the UFC has grown tenfold since 2020. These new fans of these last 4 years didn't really get to see Conor McGregor at his peak. They didn't get to see Ronda Rousey.
They really didn't. The newest like the newest generation of fans, I don't think they did. They didn't.
They didn't, right? They've seen 2 fights of Conor McGregor, an old, slow Conor McGregor when he got knocked out in Abu Dhabi. And then at 264, they got to see him for 5 minutes before his leg shattered, right? So they have never really gotten that star. Israel Adesanya was probably the biggest star of these last 4 years. And Alex Pereira came in and hunted his ass. Dino, he is that level of star. He is with those guys. He is with Ortiz and Liddell.
We have to mention, we skipped the John Jones era, obviously.
Well, John Jones era still, John Jones is like his own thing. John Jones was, to me, that's a weird one. That's another story for another day. I love John Jones, but he wasn't really like a seller. You know what I mean? He never really sold for the UFC.
I know, but still, he when people thought UFC, they thought John Jones.
And that's fair, and I would never put John Jones down. I love him. I'll glaze him like Dana be glazing.
Just for the idiots that are going to see this, and I'm not comparing fucking Poatan to John Jones.
Right. But here's the thing.
John Jones in his peak dominates him.
Long story short, I agree. Long story short, though, Alex Pereira is the greatest thing that's happened to the UFC in damn near a decade, and definitely since the COVID boom, which has brought in new fans. Dana White famously said, we grew 69%. That 69%, they've never seen anything like Alex Pereira.
Yeah. I'm going to just recap it one more time real quick. No one has fought more time since 2022. The aura, the entrance, he's terrifying. He avenged his mentor several times. He beat Izzy again, right? He was, even when he lost, he was part of the biggest moment in the sport potentially. How quickly he learned English is impressive. And even without him fucking speaking English, he's somehow funny, right? And he's a star. Look at the amount of followers that he has, right? Chama. The finishing ability speaks for itself. That left hook is like a special weapon, right? The way he just walks his opponents down, right? He literally will just walk forward, slow, like it's the same way he walks out for his entrance. He just walks forward, and then think about like his actual highlight reel. The Jamal Hill moment is, I love Jamal Hill too, by the way. I love you, but and then exactly that's insane. That's an insane fucking moment, bro.
Right, viral moment, man.
He's taking on all comers. Did they push him quickly? Of course they did. He's an older guy. He's got the background. He's got the aura. But still, man, he's handled business every single step along the way. Two weight class champ in so short amount of time. Like, he's made the most of his time, man, and he is the biggest star in the UFC. There are a couple months left in this year, but I don't need to see anything else to know that Alex Pereira is the 2024 UFC MVP, and it's not close.
Right.
He might be the decade MVP. So,
I mean, Dino, look, that's contingent on beating Khalil Rountree, which a lot of people are thinking this fight's kind of a layup. I mean, who knows, right?
That would take a lot of his aura away, I will say.
Right. Khalil Rountree has some power. We're going to give our full card breakdown tomorrow. So if you guys are, looking forward to that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that shit. Dino, before we sign off, I just want to say and reiterate one thing and kind of piggyback off what you were saying. You mentioned the fact that oftentimes we don't give people their flowers when they're here, right? We don't give these guys their flowers when they're here. One thing, and I'm not trying to big brother anyone, but for new fans of this sport, you really, really need to do that. Appreciate this shit while it's happening, because it quickly fucking goes away in this sport. One day, you're the king of the world. You're the top of the food chain. You're number one pound for pound. And fucking 2-3 fights later, a year later, you're Cody Garbrandt on a 3-fight losing streak. and, you know, outside of the fucking rankings, right? So, man, I don't love Alex Pereira, Dino, but I respect the fuck out of him, and it is super damn fun watching this guy fight.
Yeah, he's 37, bro. He's
It's
37.
coming soon, you know?
So we have at most a year or two left.
Yeah.
So
And when it finishes, Dino, when it ends for Alex Pereira, it's gonna fucking end. There's no way I see this ending positively for him.
no, I don't think he'll stick around for it to end negatively, personally.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't think he'll stick. I don't think there's a guy right now that beats him in his division. Maybe Ankalaev has a chance at the wrestling, but are they even going to give it to him? Like, they don't have to. You know,
Dana said he's next, which is weird because he's fighting Rakic. But what if Rakic wins? But DS, let's talk about that tomorrow. We got a full card breakdown coming out for you guys tomorrow. If you enjoyed and are looking forward to our picks tomorrow, do us a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the fucking bell. Yeah, follow us on Instagram at V107MMA, the same way it's spelled on this very channel. DS, fuck. Anything else?
That's all.
All right, guys. That's DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. We are the 107 MMA. And I would say peace here, but I'm going to leave you guys with a
Chama.